Welcome to the Real Film Nerds Podcast.
Welcome, Nerderinos, to another exciting episode of the Real Film Nerds Podcast. My name is Matt Hinshaw, living in the snow-filled mountains of Prescott. With me, as always, my good buddy, off on the other side of the planet, Mysterious Mike Talent.
Hey, everybody.
So, Mike, how's your Facebook page going? Has anybody liked it yet?
Yes, it was a struggle, but I ended up liking my own due to you giving me an invite to like my own page, and you have liked it, so I'm killing it.
You are, man. You're lighting it up like Christmas. So, for those of you who want to follow Mysterious Mike Talent, who probably won't ever post anything to Facebook, it'll probably be me posting on his behalf. It is facebook.com/Mysterious Mike Talent.
Yeah, that.
Yes, that thing. It does the Facebooks. There's nothing on there yet, but I swear we will get stuff on there eventually. So, Mike, what incredible Tributary movie are we talking about today?
All right, so today we're talking about A Velvet Buzzsaw. This movie was directed by Dan Gilroy, written by Dan Gilroy. It's starring Jake Gyllenhaal, Rene Russo, Zawe Ashton, I probably screwed that up, Toni Collette, Tom Sturridge, and Natalia Dyer from Stranger Things. And it is about, after a series of paintings by an unknown artist are discovered, a supernatural force enacts revenge on those who have allowed their greed to get in the way of art.
Well, sweet, Mike. So, speaking of art and art show openings, Mike, what are you drinking today?
So I am drinking the same beer that I was drinking on the last pod, which is the Big Storm Brewing Winter Ale, Dunder and Blixen.
You just don't want to mix it up? You just want to keep the same thing? Or is that just what you got in the fridge?
No, that's just what I got in the fridge, man. I'm just trying to get through it so I can get to the next one, man.
All right, then. Well, Mike, I am, as you pointed out earlier, drinking what you referred to as vitamin G.
Oh, man. Some Guinness? Everybody loves some Guinness, man. Vitamin G does the body good. Everyone should have it.
There's nothing like a good, nice, dark Guinness stout in the winter.
Yeah, and it's actually lighter than you think it is, and it has less calories than you would have thought.
Yeah, I don't care. I just like the taste of it because it's Guinness and it's delicious. And it's a good snow beer.
Yeah, no, man, that's a great snow beer. Any kind of stout is good for like a winter beer, you know. I know you're suffering through, what is it, 24 inches? How many inches?
Of what?
Of snow?
Oh. I thought you were talking about something else. It was 28 inches at the Courthouse Plaza.
Oh, 28. My bad, 28.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly how many I got at my house, and I don't really care. I just know that I had to physically dig out my truck and my car to get them out of my driveway. So, for Arizona, that's a lot of snow. Even Flagstaff, that's a lot of snow.
Yeah. Flagstaff got 40 inches in at least a day, and that's a lot of snow.
All right, so Mike, what did you think about Velvet Buzzsaw?
So Velvet Buzzsaw was interesting. It's a little bit weird, but I should expect that because it was the guy who did Nightcrawler who made this movie, and Jake Gyllenhaal was in that as well. And you know, I liked it, but it's definitely just different. I don't know. It kind of brought you into the world of art galleries and showings and artists and different things, which to me is a little bit strange. But Matt, you were saying maybe this is, you've experienced some of this stuff, not maybe quite to the drastic extremes in this movie, but some kinds of this kind of aspect of art and the selling of art and buying of art and all that stuff.
Oh yeah, I haven't dealt with a whole lot because, I'm not a famous artist. I'm just a stupid photographer. But when I was in college, I dealt with gallery shows. I went to many, many galleries, including some world famous ones in LA for one of my classes, which that was a unique day. It was really, really a lot of fun. Saw a lot of really cool stuff. I actually went to one of the museums that is featured in this. I don't know if they actually ever show you the actual museum itself. It's kind of hard to tell that because they didn't do the outside. They only really kind of did the inside where the characters were. They might have shot the outside a couple times, but that was the LA Museum of Modern Art. Is a very cool movie. I mean, not movie, museum. Anyways, yeah, I liked this movie a lot just based on the art side and the just flat out weirdness of it. I mean, I think this is a heck of a lot weirder than Nightcrawler for sure. Nightcrawler had its elements, but it's fairly grounded. Velvet Buzzsaw is not grounded at all. It's really out there. It's really an odd, crazy ass movie.
Yeah, it's definitely got some different things going on. I'll say a little bit more when we get into the spoiler section, but overall, I liked it. It's visually neat, and it's kind of cool to get a different view of the art world that, for me, I know nothing about the art world. So it was kind of a cool intro into some of what goes on in the art world. Whether that's good or bad, I got, something out of that. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, most people, unless you're actually in it and you go to museums and you go to galleries and things like that, you really don't care and you really don't pay attention. And even then, the different cultures have their own little worlds. Like, the two biggest art scenes in the country is the two biggest cities in the country. It's LA and New York. And LA and New York are completely different art scenes in their own right as well. And they don't really cross over much. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. That's why it was real interesting how this film actually opened up in a big art, almost like convention thing in like Miami Beach, which might be a thing. I don't know. I've never heard of it, but.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that was a real event or not, but you're right. It did open up in this like art gala thing in Miami. So
yeah, it wasn't really like a gallery. It was more of almost like a convention. If you ask me. I mean, there was stuff set up everywhere, but typically, not all galleries, but most galleries tend to be intimate. They tend to be smaller. The artist, especially during the opening, is usually there to talk with people and answer questions and things like that. This really came off more as cold, especially at the opening, And there's this, the art critic, your main art critic, Jake Gyllenhaal's character. He's just... Everybody's like scared to death of him because he basically makes you live or die as an artist. It was really interesting.
Yeah, it was interesting to see everybody like, sucking up to him and all this stuff. And it's like everywhere he just walks. And yeah, it was kind of, it was different for me. I liked kind of seeing that. And Jake Gyllenhaal is a great actor. So he was definitely good in this. He put everything into it. It definitely was a unique role.
Did it inspire you to go see a museum or a gallery, Mike?
No, it didn't inspire me to go see a museum or gallery, but it definitely was interesting to see how some of the buying and selling of art goes down with the people who are actually doing that because they're representing the people that have the money. So it's kind of an interesting, it was almost showing how a lot of the very wealthy people don't even really buy the art. They hire people that buy art that tell you that it's good art.
Yeah.
And that was amazing to me. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, and that is kind of a thing, especially if you're wealthy enough. They're like, okay, here's the budget, but I want you to approve it kind of thing. And a lot of times the rich people don't even know what the hell they're getting. They're just like, I want something cool, and then they don't understand the value of it. They just think, oh, it looks pretty kind of thing. But that's a lot of the art world. It's extremely, extremely subjective. Either you like it or you don't. That's why I've always been kind of against art criticism in a way, but it's a lot like movie criticism and things. It's either you like it or you don't. I mean, it's very similar to movies. You know, what I like isn't necessarily what you like and what my next door neighbor likes. And, you know, so it's just, you gotta, when you get down to the criticism and things like that, it's a lot like how when we talk about movies, it's a lot about the craft and how it affects you and the story and how it was done.
Yeah, no, you're right. When you break it all down, it's how it affects you, and you know, do you like it? Did you not like it?
Yeah, and just because you don't like something or you do like something doesn't mean that opinion is right or wrong. It's just an opinion.
Yeah, and everybody forms their own opinion, and that's fine. So you're right. The art criticism, or even what we're doing right now, just criticizing Velvet Buzzsaw, is, you know, it's all just subjective. This is my opinion, and that's your opinion, and it's up to you to form your own opinion. So.
Right, and what I consider what we do really isn't so much a criticism. It's more of a review and explaining why we like said movies or why we didn't like said movies. So I guess it is criticism. I don't know.
I mean, I guess it's towing the line. I don't know. I feel like it's kind of a criticism, you know?
Yeah, but we don't sit here and overanalyze stuff, and I don't spend like 3 hours reviewing the movie and looking up facts and shit. I mean, seriously, you and I, we just go straight from the hip. I have no notes in front of me. None.
Yeah, no, I don't have any notes. I used to keep a little bit of notes here and there, but I haven't done that in a little bit. I usually just try and remember what it made me feel like, and we review the movies, you know, within 5 or less days of seeing it. So it's probably like a couple days, honestly, since we've seen it. And just, if there's something crazy, or like if the movie's just awful, sometimes I'll write some notes because things just get me so angry. But that doesn't happen that much.
Yeah. Well, anyways, I guess enough about us, but I just, it's interesting because it is a movie about criticism in a way. It is a horror movie. I would say it's not a super horror movie. I mean, it is, but it isn't. It's more of just a thriller, odd kind of movie, you know?
Yeah, I didn't get super scared by anything, but it's the thrill. It's the kind of the mystery of what's happening. So I wouldn't say it's like super scary, but would I tell you to watch this with your kids? No, there's some definite kind of gory type scenes in it. I mean, there's only a couple, but they're in there. So. Oh
yeah, and they're quite graphic.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's a good way to put it. It is a very good kind of mystery. It is a lot of whodunit, or why this happened, or why is this going on, and why is, you know, a lot of whys, I guess, is a good way to describe this one.
Yeah, there's a lot of intertwined people and how they keep intertwining and different stuff. And it was interesting to see how intricate all of this culture was in this particular, like, I don't know, I guess group that we're following. And everybody knows everybody and how they all interact and all the different things and who's dating who and why and things like that. So it was cool.
Yeah, and then they start looking outside the circle at this new artist, and then that's when everything starts going downhill fast.
Yeah.
But isn't this the second movie where it's been Dan Gilroy, Rene Russo, and Jake Gyllenhaal? Because wasn't Rene Russo in Nightcrawler as well?
She was. She was the editor for the news station, one of the main ones that Jake Gyllenhaal wanted to, and I think they even had a romantic interest
Entanglement.
Yeah, entanglement. There you go. Oh, dude, that was good. Good word. Good word, Matt.
But anyways, yeah. Because I don't know if it was so much romantic, but it was, yeah. Anyways, so I just thought of that. That it's not just Jake Gyllenhaal and Dan Gilroy, but it's the three kind of main people of Velvet Buzzsaw and Nightcrawler. So,
yeah.
Anyways, all right. Well, speaking of Rene Russo, Jake Gyllenhaal, and Dan Gilroy, Mike, how does Velvet Buzzsaw relate to the Marvel Cinematic Universe?
All right. So, thanks for asking, Matt. And a little bit of a confession. Matt was telling me that I should put Jake Gyllenhaal because he's in the next Spider-Man movie that's not released yet. But I decided to use Rene Russo, who has already been in some Marvel movies. She was in Thor: The Dark World and Thor as Frigga, Thor's mom.
I still think Jake Gyllenhaal counts, even though the movie's not out yet.
All right. But I was just letting everybody know what I was thinking.
You just always have to one-up me with Thor's mommy, don't you?
Yeah. Yes, I do. Yes.
Spoiler alert, she dies. And it's depressing.
Man.
Hey, dude, those movies have been out for a while. And the one she dies in, I wouldn't recommend anyone seeing anyways. That movie was bad.
All
Thor:
right.
The Dark World was bad. It was not a good movie.
It was not the best. That was like, let's see.
It was a Thor movie, but it wasn't a great one.
The worst Marvel movie that you can think of off the top of your head?
Like the worst as in the worst that I didn't like?
The worst in as far as from Iron Man to now, is that the worst Marvel movie?
In my opinion, or the worst, like,
no, in
at
your,
the box office?
No, in your opinion. No, not the box office. No, we don't care about that.
I don't know if it's my most hated one. It's definitely towards the top, though.
Okay. I was just wondering, because I kind of felt like, in my mind, that is likely the worst one that they've done.
I'd have to think about it for a minute, but I think I would probably agree with you because nothing else is really popping up in my head that I really just disliked as much as that one. Like, the original Thor wasn't great, but it wasn't horrible like Thor: The Dark World. I mean, Thor: The Dark World was really bad.
Yeah, but then, they came out with Thor Ragnarok and just kicked it up like...
Which is amazing.
A lot of levels, and that was good, so...
Yeah, I'm just trying to think. Of all the MCU movies, the main MCU movies, I can't really think of any ones that I full on say I didn't like. I mean, there's some that I like better than others, but I definitely think The Dark World is one that I openly can say I really did not like.
Okay. Yeah. Me too. Yeah. All right. Cool.
Well, let's get back to our Velvet Buzzsaw review. The name is a freaking awesome name, and then how they reveal where it came from was even more interesting, and then how it didn't relate to the movie at all until the very last scene was really crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, I really had no idea why it was called Velvet Buzzsaw, and then really the end happens, and...
Yeah, exactly. There's nothing else you can really say.
Yeah. Matt, are we going to do... Is it spoiler time? Are we spoiler time?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, okay. That's why I started out talking that way, but I wasn't going to reveal the ending anyway, so... No,
I'm not going to reveal the ending.
But yeah, go ahead. Spoil, go.
What I will say is this movie reminded me a lot of The Ring, in certain aspects, because there's kind of supernatural things happening to people who mess with stuff.
So it's like the paintings, but reversed with The Ring, where if you saw the videotape, you know, that was it. where on here, if you profited from the paintings, you didn't see the next day kind of thing?
Yeah, that's what it kind of reminded me of. Like, there's this thing going around, and it's kind of viral, but it's really targeted. And for this, it's if you profited on the art.
Yeah, because lots and lots and lots of people see the art because they have a show with it, and no one from the show dies except for those that made money off of the artwork in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, it was definitely that aspect of the movie reminded me of The Ring.
One thing that I thought the paintings were going to be like killer paintings, but clearly it's not. It's what the spirits that I think it's probably the old man spirit that's doing it, that's going after them, that's in the paintings, but he doesn't necessarily use the paintings. Like,
yeah, but he messes with them with the paintings.
Right. Like, the very first guy that dies, the dude that's driving the truck.
Yeah.
Like, it pulls out and he's in the painting that's at the gas station. He's not, in the painting that he was in the paintings he was transporting or anything like that.
Right.
Which was real.
Yeah.
So it's, they mess with you, but it's not necessarily the artwork itself. So that's why I think it's a little bit broader than the artwork. It's more about the spirit of the man that created the artwork and how screwed up he was. Yeah,
definitely. Even some of the aspects of this movie where they research, the origins of the man and the art and stuff, it reminded me kind of The Ring and that kind of like, you're building up to figure out what's going on with this character. So it was in that way, this just reminded me a lot of that. And I've seen way too many horror movies, so this could be my horror interpretation. But
that's all good, man. One thing that, and this is from a production standpoint that just blew my freaking mind. The big giant sphere thing, which is a really cool, interesting piece of art if you ask me. But every single time you see a shot of that sphere thing and they're up there really close with the camera and the whole crew and everything, they would be reflected in that sphere. And I still can't figure out how the hell they were able to shoot those scenes and not have themselves in it.
Oh, they probably just edited it out in post.
I'm sure it was probably digital or something, but I just was like, man, they paid really good attention to this, that they cut themselves out of this massive reflection.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, they should have been in that.
But, I mean, look at another thing I was going to bring up is the cast. I mean, outside of Jake Gyllenhaal and Rene Russo, I mean, it has a pretty freaking good cast.
Oh, yeah.
Toni Collette.
Oh, yeah. No, Toni Collette.
John
Malkovich. Yeah, there's so many good actors. This is a good movie. One thing I was questioning, Matt. So I know you said this was screened at, was it film?
Sundance. Yeah.
And so when I watched this on Netflix, it said rated R, and I was like, was this released to the theaters? Because I feel like it's straight to Netflix, but is the what are they called? The movie association rating movies that are coming to Netflix?
No. I'm not 100% sure how the story goes. I'd have to look it up, but I believe I heard somewhere that this was going to come out as a movie in the theaters, and Sundance was its premiere, and then they were going to try and get it into the movie theaters, like what most, film festivals are doing is usually small, independent, smaller films that they try and get someone to pick it up and put it into the movie theaters.
Yeah.
And instead of it being picked up by a big production company at Sundance and released in the movie theaters, Netflix picked it up and released it while Sundance was still going on.
That's pretty awesome. Okay, so, but it had already been released somehow to the MPA, like, because it was weird that it said rated R.
To open it up to even at Sundance, I think it still has to be rated by the MPAA.
Okay, so that's where it is. That's where it is. Okay.
Right, and it was a public showing at Sundance to a degree. I mean, it would be tough to go see it, but it's still, there's members of the general public that go to Sundance. Mostly the people that live there and a bunch of film critics and actors and stuff like that. But still, you could buy a ticket and walk in and watch the premiere of Velvet Buzzsaw when it came out. And so then it technically would have been released.
Yeah, we could have gone to Sundance and watched a movie or two, and then now it's public.
Yeah, so, okay, it was released, again, I'm trying not to type stuff in, but it was released at Sundance Film Festival, its premiere, January 27th, 2019. But its internet release date, which has just about every single country you can imagine listed here, including the United States, was February 1st of 2019. So it really seems like Netflix bought it and a couple days later went, okay, boom.
That's actually kind of cool. Like, I mean, the filmmaker's probably awesome. Like, wow. Like, because now it's everywhere. Like, and...
Oh, yeah.
You know, I don't want the theaters to go away, but I definitely see streaming just taking on such a huge role in everything. So it's interesting to see stuff like that happen. Like, I mean, they bought it, and 3 days later, it's up on the internet, and everyone can watch it.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, you made something, and then they're like, all right, just give us that copy, and we'll put that on the internet, and it'll be out in a couple days.
Yeah. I honestly think that's what happened. I can't confirm because I don't want to type on my keyboard, but I heard somewhere that's what happened.
Wow.
And under distributors, it has Netflix. You know, it says theatrical distribution Netflix in the USA, Netherlands, Netflix, Singapore, Netflix. You know?
Yeah, that's just amazing. Like, as an artist, it's probably thrilling and somewhat, like, crazy that just Netflix can be like, yeah, we've released your stuff. It's all over the world.
Well, have you seen recently where, and he's been quoted many times on this, how bad Steven Spielberg is just tearing apart streaming right now?
Yeah, I saw some stuff that he dislikes it, and he wants us to go to the theaters forever. And, you know, I agree with him to a point. I definitely still enjoy watching movies in a theater. Unfortunately, Matt, I feel like your theater is always messed up with all your terrible experiences. But yeah, I like the idea of going to a completely different place and viewing in a, you know, premium quality content and no pausing of movies and no doing this. Like, you're completely immersed. So I love that aspect of the theater, and I really hope that still stays. But it is it's definitely changing with all the streaming content and the quality of the streaming content, man. Like Amazon and Netflix and even Hulu?
Yep, Hulu has, I don't know if they do a whole lot of movies, but they definitely do TV shows.
The Brides? No.
Handmaid's Tale is a TV show.
Yeah. Handmaid's Tale has won rave reviews, and so it's like all these things. It's like, man, I don't know. I just feel like a lot of the traditional media, that the way that it was, is kind of dying and over. But I don't want movies to go away. I want movies to be at the theater. So I want Netflix to release movies at the theater, even if it's a week. That's fine.
Well, my thing is with the theaters is a lot of what you said about it's an experience. You're there. You can't hit pause. You can't hit stop. But one of the big things for me going to the theater is there's certain movies that's how I really want to see that movie. Granted, it's good at home. It's a hell of a lot better than it's ever been in my entire life nowadays. I mean, you can afford a 65-inch TV. I mean, I remember watching, the first time I saw Star Wars on a shitty little tube TV that was probably 20 inches, And now I have these monstrosity HD 65-inch surround sound TVs for, a few $100. I mean, it's really incredible. The home viewing experience has really just skyrocketed in recent years. But for me, it's still not at the level of sitting in a theater. Like, if I ever had the money, I would love to get a house where I could have my own home theater in it, because I want that experience. And I would throw down and have a really good surround sound system and have a projector. And, granted, it would be a digital projector, not a legit projector, just be one. But I would really love to have that in my own home, because that's how I like to see a lot of certain movies, especially big action movies, really incredible cinematography movies, like, God, now I'm drawing a blank.
Like Sicario.
Sicario, yeah. The best way ever to watch Sicario is in a movie theater on a giant screen. Oh, it really is.
Oh, yeah. That has some really cool cinematography stuff. Or even the new the robot movie 2049. I'm blanking.
Blade Runner.
Blade Runner 2049. Oh,
beautiful.
It's beautiful movie. Like,
if you would see that at home and then go and watch it in the theater, it wouldn't have the same impact as if you see it in the theater and then watch it at home later, because it's that good. It's that pretty. The sound, A Quiet Place is another great example. A Quiet Place, the cinematography was great, but not at the level of Blade Runner. But the sound in that, I mean, it was amazing. You're sitting at home, your phone's going off, you hear the furnace running, you're doing your dishes or whatever. It's all distracting from that experience. So, but then on the flip the coin, Velvet Buzzsaw is an okay example. It probably would have been nice in a theater, but it's not a must. It's not one where I have to see it in the theater because it's going to impact me. Or a lot of the animated flicks, except for Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, like the Wreck-It Ralph 2, if I would have seen that at home instead of the theater, I think it would have had the exact same impact versus seeing in a theater.
Yeah. I mean, you're right. I guess it varies, but I really, my worry is that the theaters will go away and then we'll all just be stuck watching media at home, and not, I mean, just like you said, Matt, the home experience can be amazing. But it really is up to you, the user, to make it amazing. So you would have to make sure that you keep up with all the different technologies, getting the 4K screens, and having the darkest blacks, and having surround sound at 7.1 or the Atmos, whatever, Dolby Atmos certification, all these things, and that's really hard for us and costs. It costs quite a bit to do all that stuff, but can you do it? Absolutely.
But then you start throwing in the other factor, Mike, like you and I don't have this issue yet, especially you, but throw in children and the mailman coming by and anything else. They're all going to interrupt you. You're going to have to stop the movie. It's going to take you out. It's going to change your headspace. I see a place for both in the future. It's just I don't think we're going to get quite as many movies in the theaters, and there probably won't be quite as many people going, which is really sad.
Yeah. We might actually see a contraction of the amount of theaters in the country. But I just really don't want theaters to go away. So I kind of agree a little bit with Steven Spielberg, because it's an experience, and it is something that is fun. For me, it's always been great just to go there and relax. And now there's all these theaters coming out with like reclining chairs and all this kind of premium experience, and that's cool too. So
Well, and I think that's what's going to help save the theaters is the quote-unquote premium experience, because now people are like, oh, well, I can go like the Alamo Drafthouse. I can go and I can eat dinner, have a beer, and watch a movie, and I'm not going to be interrupted by the people around me. It's going to be completely silent. Or it goes the other way, and it's like, oh, it's going to be fun because it's a sing-along, or it's because I could shoot the Nerf guns at the whatever. They're really capitalizing on that, and the Alamo Drafthouse, as you see, is just blowing up right now.
Yeah, no, that's pretty neat. I can't wait to see a movie with you at the Alamo Drafthouse. So,
dude, it'll be fun. I'm looking forward to that. But then, you go the other way, like some of the bad experiences you and I have both had. If you and I weren't such avid moviegoers, like, the people that were in the theater with me, they might just be like, you know what? Screw this. I'm not going to go to the movie theater anymore. People are going to sit here and talk through it. And so then you get the people that only go to a movie maybe once or twice a month that are now going to be only going maybe once or twice a year because someone ruined their experience.
Yeah, that's not good for the industry.
And then another one, I mean, I don't want to, tear apart the movie theaters themselves, but sometimes the employees of the movie theaters aren't a whole lot of fun. Sometimes the sodas are screwed up. Sometimes the popcorn is bad. If you want to keep people coming to the theaters, you got to make sure and put out a good product, just like anything else. Especially in a smaller town like Prescott, word of mouth travels like wildfire here, man.
Oh, yeah, man. Yeah.
So it's not as bad as, say, a restaurant, because there's a billion restaurants. There's only 2 movie theaters. But if someone has a bad experience, they might just stop going, and then they'll go tell their friends and whatever. But you and I, it's different. We'll go no matter what. We know that one bad experience is 1 out of 100 experiences. So...
yeah, no, I continue to watch movies. I mean, I've had lots of bad experiences, but...
yeah, but I'm just saying, that when it hits that one person where it's not their everyday movie going, well, not every day, but like 2 or 3 times a week, like we are, and they're the 2 or 3 times a month, and the one time they go that month or twice they go that month, they have really bad experiences, they're not going to go back. And you can't do that. You got to try and make every experience not so much special, but you want to keep it on a level playing field.
Yeah.
So we could talk about an entire podcast just on this shit.
Yeah. We've talked too much about this stuff. I guess I'll quickly mention next week we were thinking about doing Green Lantern as a request that we haven't gotten to, and then what was the other one that we're thinking of, Matt?
Mike, really? Lost City of Z. It's the one you want to see on Amazon. It's a Tributary.
Yes, Lost City of Z. Man, I'm in the zone. I'm podcasting. We're
I got
zoning.
you thinking. I know, man. I got you thinking, especially about the side of the artsy side of the movie going experience and things. But all right, so Mike, since we're going to go ahead and jump into it, I mean, we could talk about this all day. I figured we'd talk about the movie a little bit more, but it's okay. I really liked Velvet Buzzsaw a lot. I thought it was great. I liked the critiques on the art world. A lot of the cynicism on the art world. It's makes fun of the art world in some ways if you've ever dabbled in the art world, especially how some of the guys come off. I mean, Jake Gyllenhaal's character is a homosexual, but yet he's dating a woman, and it's so funny in a lot of those aspects. It's odd. It won't make up its mind. But I really like this movie. I think I probably liked it more than you. I give it 4 out of 5 reels. I really enjoyed Velvet Buzzsaw.
Oh man, yeah. You definitely liked it more than me. I'm giving it 3 out of 5 reels. I liked it. I thought it was really cool about the art world and the stuff, but to me, it was just a kind of an average movie. I mean, not bad at all. Like, very well done. All the visual stuff was cool. I think they did a good job of representing kind of art galleries and different things and kind of that whole world. And so, I just give it 3 out of 5 reels for me.
Yeah, I liked it. I liked it a lot. I mean, it's, especially if you have dabbled in that world, if you go to museum gallery shows and stuff and you see the art dealers and you see the art critics and how pretentious they are. I mean, it's a lot like Hollywood in a lot of ways. I mean, honestly, you know, they have this look, they have this air about them. Their shit doesn't stink kind of thing, some of them, and it's just, he really, you know, Dan Gilroy really nailed a lot of that in this, and I just like that. So
yeah, nice, man. No, that's great.
Anyways, all right, well, Mike, I guess that'll wrap her up. I don't really have much else other than you know, you're missing out if you don't watch this one on Netflix for sure.
Oh yeah, you should definitely. I would say you should watch this on Netflix. It's not something to watch with the kids around, but you know, it's definitely interesting and it's different. So I enjoy promoting different content, and yeah, so everyone should watch this who has a Netflix account, or at least a login.
Definitely. I mean, seriously, it was fun. It was different. It was unique. I think probably Nightcrawler is still a little bit better, but this is still one of Dan Gilroy's most fun films for sure.
Yeah, I agree, man. And so I guess with that, I'll go ahead and wrap us up. Thanks for listening, everybody, and catch you on the next pod.
Thank you for listening to The Real Film Nerds. Now, don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Real Film Nerds. Now, go out and catch a movie.